All right, let's talk about maybe the single most powerful and personal piece of gear any guitarist can own. And nope, it's not a fancy pedal, it's not some boutique amp, it's something way, way smaller. I'm talking about the humble guitar pick. You know the one. We buy them by the handful, they disappear in the wash, we find them under the couch cushions months later. Most of the time, we probably don't give them a second thought. But here's the thing, and this is the big secret. That little piece of plastic, it is the single biggest and cheapest way to totally change your guitar's sound. I am serious. It changes your tone, your attack, your whole feel on the instrument.
I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. A pick isn't just some tool, right? It's literally the bridge between you and your instrument. It's the one thing that takes what's in your head and in your hands and turns it into actual sound coming from the strings. So, if it's that important, how in the world do you find the right one? Or maybe a better question is, how do you find the right ones? Well, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Okay, to really decode this whole thing, we're going to break it down into 5 key parts. Once you get these 5 things, I promise, you'll be able to look at pretty much any pick out there and have a really good idea of what it's going to feel and sound like. So here they are, the big 5. First up, you've got thickness, which you'll also hear called gauge. Super simple, it's just how thick or thin it is. Then you have the material. What's it actually made of? Because that makes a huge difference. Next, we've got the body shape and, really importantly, the tip shape. And finally, the overall size, which is all about how it feels in your hand. You master these 5, and you've cracked the code.
All right, let's start with the big one. And honestly, for most people, this is the most important factor of all: thickness, or gauge. This is probably going to have the biggest impact on how a pick sounds and feels when you play. So check this out. It's all about trade-offs, right? On one end, you've got your thin picks. They're super flexible, which gives you this bright, kind of clicky sound that's awesome for strumming an acoustic guitar. Then, all the way on the other end, you have the thick picks. They're totally rigid. They give you a much warmer, darker tone and way more control for playing solos or fast single-note lines. And right there in the middle, that's your medium pick, the jack of all trades. And this is what's crazy. The difference we're talking about here is tiny. A change of just 0.2 millimeters, that's like the thickness of 2 pieces of paper, can completely change how a pick feels and sounds. It really is a game of millimeters. So what's the big takeaway here? It's this. If you're a beginner, or if you just have no idea where to start, grab a medium gauge pick. It's the perfect starting point. It's balanced enough for you to try out strumming, try out some lead lines. It kind of does a little bit of everything really well. Okay, so we've got thickness down. Now let's talk about shape. This is where things get really interesting, because the physical shape is all about designing a pick for a specific style of playing. And yeah, it makes a huge difference in your sound. And this is a perfect example of the most important part of the shape, the tip. Just look at the difference. On the left, you've got that sharp, pointy tip. That's going to give you a really clear, bright, defined attack every time you hit the string. Now look at the one on the right. See how much more rounded it is? That's going to just glide over the string, giving you a way warmer, softer, and smoother sound. First up, the classic, the one you've probably seen a million times. This is the standard shape. Its tip is kind of the Goldilocks of picks, not too sharp, not too round. It's just a great, versatile, do-it-all kind of pick. Next, we have the teardrop shape. Now you'll notice it's a little bit smaller, and there's a reason for that. The whole idea is to let your fingers get physically closer to the strings, which gives you more feedback and way more fine-tuned control. Then there's the jazz shape. And what's funny is, even though it's called a jazz pick, it's a huge favorite for hard rock and metal players. Why? Because its small size and sharp tip are built for one thing: speed and precision. And finally, we've got the triangle. The big selling point here is just pure practicality. You got 3 identical tips to play with, so when one starts to wear down, you just rotate it. Simple. They're also super popular with bass players because you get a much bigger surface area to hold on to. All right, so we've gone through all the technical stuff, the thickness, the shapes, all the details. But so what? What does this actually mean for you and your playing? Let's bring it all back to what really matters. Think about it this way. You wouldn't use the exact same amp settings for a heavy metal riff and a quiet acoustic song, would you? Of course not. So why on earth would you use the exact same guitar pick for both? And this, right here, is the biggest secret of all. The quest isn't to find that one, single, mythical, perfect guitar pick. That doesn't exist. The real goal is to build a little toolbox of different picks, to have a few options that are each perfect for a different song, a different technique, or just a different mood. So how do you even start building that toolbox? It's actually really simple. You just have to experiment. And honestly, the best and fastest way to do that is to just grab a variety pack of picks. It's like a guided tour of all the different shapes, thicknesses, and materials. It's the ultimate shortcut to finding what you like. Because when you start experimenting, you're gonna find tones in your guitar that you never even knew were there. You'll start learning to match the right pick to the right song. You'll figure out what's actually comfortable for you. And the coolest part? Your favorite picks will change and evolve as you get better as a player. So, the next time you're at the music store looking at that big jar of picks, don't just automatically reach for your usual. Be curious. Grab something new, something thicker, something thinner, maybe a weird shape you've never tried. Because who knows, that little piece of plastic might just be the key to your next favorite sound. Your journey to find it starts right now. What are you going to discover?